Everybody, it's the Man Master here. I'm just doing a video today, and I just thought of this right now because I use this channel as kind of as a catharsis and stuff. I don't really care about what people think about my videos all that much. As far as I just kind of let things flow, and if I really regret it, I'll delete my video. But it's like I think I've deleted like 2 videos the entire time on here, or made them private. Like one was about some of my exes and stuff, and or some of the relationships I've had, which are unfortunate as far as that goes. But this one goes in that same vein, by the way. The struggle continues, and I'm not going to go way too into some of the reasons why it's been such a struggle the last year or so. I wish I could talk about that, because it would just be getting a lot of things off my chest, but I would be there are consequences for talking too much about this stuff. Nothing illegal or unethical or anything like that. I just don't want to talk about certain situations or conditions that affect the process of trying to get better with some of these things. So as far as my whole thing is that last year I was doing way better with dating. I didn't even realize it, and then some things came up that unfortunately torpedoed that. But I had a lot more matches on Tinder. I don't really know what happened. So I at one point had, and some of this is because of that stupid global thing that happens, I had like 600 or 700 matches on Tinder. Maybe about 200 or 300 were localized, but it was pretty damn good. But I have had a huge struggle with this the last few months, as far as even getting any traction on any of the apps or dating kind of things going again. And I really do want to get it going. And I realized, a lot of people have said, well, some of these things are a scam, or a half scam. So you have to go, it's just like, it's very biased against, or not biased, but jinxed against the men on the dating apps. And it just sucks, because things were going so well in 2020 in some ways, as far as sheer number. It's not, I didn't exactly get, wasn't super successful, but it was better. And it's just kind of I'm just kind of whining to the camera right now about this. I don't know what to do. One thing about this whole thing is, like in some of my previous videos about dating, is that I really do want to get better in real life, a more real life approach to it. And I'm kind of at the dawning of doing that again after since 2019, because what happened in 2019 is that I did, do a huge number of approaches, whatever you want to call it. Controversial statement like, oh, you're not supposed to do that. Oh, you're just supposed to naturally meet someone through friends. Yeah. Well, let me just say that, being kind of a social outcast to some extent, and having very sausage fest interests, and not even having an office place to meet anybody, not to mention the office workers of companies that I work with are usually married or have 3 kids as far as women goes. It's not exactly an easy thing to say, oh, well, go meet someone through friends, especially at my age bracket. So yeah, I will go out there and approach those I'm interested in, or have a certain vibe about them. So if people think that's politically incorrect or wrong, they can fucking shove it. That's all I gotta say about that. But as far as this whole process, as far as online, it's gone it's on the bottom of where it was even last year, and I don't really understand. I had a really weird exchange last night with someone on Tinder, or yesterday, not last night, yesterday morning actually. But then they unmatched. It is what it is. It's a very difficult process, and there's a lot of there's the little voice in the back of my head. I'm sure people will respond to this. Why not just go MGTOW? No, I don't. I'm just not into that. That's not my thing. I love women. I love their presence. Obviously, they're not very present right now. They're not here. But I just see the empty couch, But yeah, it's kind of a frustrating thing, and I don't know how much I want to work on it, how hard I want to work on it, and that's the problem I'm having right now. Is like, where do I go? Do I go back and hit the apps harder? Do I have to put a little more effort into it as far as online, or do I just go out all the time and try to do it that way? Now I'm trying to get into better shape too, and I've been doing really good the last couple weeks, because I know being older, it is better if I'm better in shape, as far as especially the women that are out there, which are usually younger, or almost always. If you're going to a bar, the tendency is it leans younger, especially in a fucking college town. So people that criticize me for dating much younger women, it's like, well, that's what's around me. As far as I think I've done enough videos about that. I don't know if it's I hesitate to call it a preference, because this is something that people give me shit about. That's fine. You shouldn't prefer. Oh, just why don't you date someone your own age? It'd be so much better. And a lot of times it's defensive, because it's a woman that's saying this, and they're like, because they're older and they feel all fucking like, oh my god, I'm older, I don't want to feel like this, so I'm going to attack Matt for dating younger women because he has. Like I said in one of my previous videos. I mean, my last date was, I'm just saying, like, my last date was 22. I dated a woman that was 26, and I'm up there, and that exchange yesterday, I don't even want to say how old she was. 20. And I'm not like, it's not like something it's not like I consciously say, like, I have to talk to. This is where people probably get it wrong. Maybe subconsciously influenced by it, but it's not like I sit there and say I have to talk to. Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes I have made my search preferences a little more narrow, but it's not like I just do that. Like, a lot of times what will happen is I'll say, like, 18 or 20 to 22 or whatever to 45 or whatever, and I'll get a few 40-year-olds or 35-year-olds, and like this one 40-year-old that I was talking to, she's like, she basically said I was boring her with my talk, and she's like, well, why don't you say something? And then I just unmatched. I was like, fuck you. And whereas you'll have situations like that, or they have these it's more of a lifestyle difference than necessarily a biological evolutionary imperative liking more fertile looking younger women, which is a controversial thing to say nowadays, with how woke people are and stuff, like, as far as like books by Matt Ridley or Dawkins or whoever, like, oh, well, men prefer younger women with wide hips and blah blah blah, right? Well, yeah, probably. But just to put that out there, it's not like I necessarily, like, reject women that are around my age or something like that. Like, I just put a filter on there all the time. No, it just happens to be that there's more single women in their 20s or early 30s or whatever. And that's basically how that gravitates, and that includes the bars, includes the streets, because I live in a college town. So what am I going to do? Just automatically, like, I can't date anybody under 35 because that'd be bad, because the power dynamics, because I live in an apartment and I work for a call center job, and they might be a university PhD student. So the power dynamics of me living alone in an apartment and them possibly making like 4 times my wage, that's just unacceptable, because I'm too old for that. I'm going to be politically correct and only date women 2 years within my age range. That's all I got to say about that. Fuck that. So, yeah, it's bullshit, right? And the more that people push, the more I'm going to do it. Whether it be friends or family or whoever, like, oh my God, it's so wrong. Oh, why do you do that? Oh, okay, well, maybe next time I'll bring a 19-year-old to dinner. You know, see, it's like, the more people push me in that direction, the more I'm going to do it. Because it pisses me off, them saying that. And yeah, like I've said, you know, I kind of want to have biological children of my own. I know that's pretty controversial. Get married and all that stuff eventually. But right now, I want to have fun and see what's out there and see what happens. That's what I want. But it's been very difficult. As of late, especially more so than 2019 and even 2020, believe it or not. I don't know why, but it has been. Now, I've tried the Facebook dating app, a lot of scams, but it seems like I'm doing better on there than I am Tinder, because I don't spend a lot of time on the Facebook app, but I've done a little bit on there and it's gotten better. And I deleted my Tinder and went back on once, and then it's not working. I think it's just too many people on Tinder now, and it's like Facebook dating. Facebook's an evil company, but you know, it looks like it's more it's a better unexplored app, or whatever you want to call it. It reminds me of Plenty of Fish back in like 2010, 2011, actually, Facebook dating, which is a good thing, because there weren't like these restrictions and stuff like Marcus fucking put on there, which I think are absolutely ludicrous. Like, you can't date someone 13, or you can't like even respond to someone 13 years outside your age range, up or down, I think it is. And that really eliminates a lot of, you know, possible relationships. Like I said, my last girlfriend was 14 years and 9 months younger than me. So I wouldn't have been able to email her on Plenty of Fish, but on Facebook dating, there's no such restrictions or limits like that. Some of it's an interesting app. So, but it does remind me of that. A lot of the same, like, kind of working class women with like a lot of the same like interests from around rural areas and stuff. You'll see on there. It does remind me of Plenty of Fish. It's not like OkCupid, but at their prime. I think some of these apps are just kind of dying off, and you know, like OkCupid is just dead in a lot of ways. And Bumble is actually, it looks a little better, but overall it sucks. I'd rather just go out there and approach women in real time, in real life, and I probably will in the next several weeks to months, and just start doing that again. Because 2019 was going towards something, it seems like, but then I kind of slowed down on that, because I did get a girlfriend, and I don't have any regrets about that. I have regrets about what happened before and after, but like, I think what happened is what happened. Oh shit, I just spilled coffee on myself. Hopefully it doesn't come through on the video, but that's why you can't get a girlfriend, Matt, because you spill coffee on yourself all the time. No, I don't, but I just did. Yeah, there was some troll that said, you had a girlfriend? I'm like, yeah, well, hurt people. So hopefully that means you probably are struggling yourself and just want to project that on me. But yeah, I'm struggling lately. And I wasn't struggling last year as much, or 2019 especially. For some reason it was going better back then. Man, you know, I get paranoid and think, oh, it's because my age is different now. Like, there's a 3 instead of a 2 in front of it. You know, it's like, uh, or instead of a 1 or whatever. You know, well, I could see them dating that age, but not like 2 years older than that. It's like, well, really, when the number before that is, I was scared, dude. I was scared of like even being like in my you know, like in the 30s at all. And the irony is, like, I got rejected because of the age thing numerous times online. More so though back when I was like 32 or whatever. That's kind of the funny thing, because I would have girls that were like 24 that said, "You're too old for me," you know. But then, like, I don't even get that anymore. I rarely get like, and usually because the filters are better designed on these apps, where if you do match with someone, they don't care, they prefer older men or whatever. But hopefully I won't be compared to Warren Ellis if I start dating someone, you know. But there's King Diamond, you know, and who else? You know, there's people that have kind of tipped pretty low for whatever reason, and you know, they're not criticized as much. But yeah, it's a struggle, and I don't know what I'm gonna do next about that. But I think one thing I'm gonna probably do is because I have not done this since 2018, is clear my OkCupid, like cancel my current profile on there, because I've exhausted probably the whole region, and I could just recycle over and do, you know. I noticed actually there was a certain person that I kept seeing do that lately on Tinder. Well, I wonder who that is, why you keep seeing that. Well, yeah, it was a certain person that I was with. I kept seeing her on there. Of course, I unmatched, or not unmatched. I would swipe left, but I kept seeing her for some reason. It was really weird. I don't know if she just keeps like doing the same thing, like deleting her thing, going back up or whatever. I don't know how that works. But no, I'm not gonna explore. What am I trying to say? Explore things that were already, you know, destroyed by their own undoing. More so than, in some ways, more so than me. Someone refusing to try to reconcile or talk things through, refusing and just cutting things off like they did, or just being totally like, I don't know. And it's not like I didn't do anything, because I did, but I mean, Ron, but it was one of those things. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Well, I'll try to do a lot better as far as this thing goes, but it was just kind of, I wanted to rant about this a little bit because it just pisses me off that it's so bad lately, and I have no idea why. It's just really strange, because I used to get a lot more matches and a lot more things going on. I don't know what I did. It was a certain picture that I used, or a certain fucking, did I not put something in my profile that's says something? Is it the age? Is it the time we live in? Is it the I just don't know what the hell is going on. It's just going to total shit. So, but I'm gonna fight to reclaim victory and claim you know, and people might question, people probably do question why I see things in such a dramatic way about this whole thing, but it's been a struggle, you know. It's been a huge struggle. I could go more personally why and how, but I'd rather not in this video. But yeah, it's something I'm just gonna fight really hard about in the next few months, because I want to go. There's certain things I wanted in my life. I wanted in my life, and that's just the way it is. People may not like people. Some people are threatened by these ideas, right? Like, I've talked about pickup artists and stuff in my videos, and that community and stuff, and I know that people are threatened by those ideas, especially, and I understand why, and I do criticize that whole idea too, but as far as I defend some of their ideas as well, that's just the way it goes. But as far as the whole concept of like assertively putting yourself out there, whereas like most people expect you to just passively meet someone, that's never worked for me. And this will be my last rant of this video, by the way, just because I feel like doing this, it kind of came up as I'm just talking about this stuff. If that worked for me, then I would have just done that. I would have. You know, if these things worked, if I would have just been able to do that. Now, growing up, I may have been autistic or on the spectrum in some respects. Either that or something else like social anxiety or whatever. But there would be women that were interested in me, or girls at the time, of course. And I just didn't notice them, or I was in denial about it or whatever. I wouldn't see the cues. I couldn't read the cues. So that made things really difficult. As far as if any of them were actually, some of them were not very attractive to me, but some of them were. I remember, you know, there were a few that were really attractive that I would have really loved to have gotten to know. But when you grow up with that and then you become an adult and you've hardly been with anyone, you know, back like in my 20s, it makes it really difficult. So you don't have these skills, you don't have this, you can't attune to these frequencies as much, or you're just kind of catching up with what the rest of the world, the normal world, has been. Like, I still, and people have criticized me for saying this, but I still think this normie thing is true. You know, you date in your high school years, you meet someone, you have your first long-term relationship, you go to college, break up, and then maybe you have someone else, and you get married, children, blah, 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 by 26, 27, 28. And then you go into this normal thing, you get divorced at 35 or 40 or whatever, and then you meet someone else, blah, blah, blah. You know, that's what happens. That's just the normal way of doing things. But that's never been my way, because that's just never, that you could call it my upbringing, or maybe I was on the spectrum possibly, or whatever. You know, growing up, whatever happened, or bad role models and bad situations, toxic relationships all around me growing up, you know, influencing me to have certain attitudes and stuff. And that's the way it went. So when people say that I should just like let things happen and let go, and I'll meet someone, you know, if I just let go and not think about it when I least expect it, this fucking stupid thing that people have said over the years, it never happens. Because when I do meet someone, I have the expectation I will. It's kind of like the law of attraction or manifestation or whatever. I expect that I will by a certain date or whatever. I've actually had this happen for real. I like wrote down like actual dates. Like 10 years ago I did this. One of them might have been a month off or something like that, but it's not like years and years or something. So this has happened to me numerous times, as far as like I will start searching and do aggressive action towards it, and then I have this expectation, then I'll meet someone, and I do. But people would say, oh well, it's they have this, I think that what they do is they project this like ideal reality that they've lived in, especially if they're female family members or something. Like, this is their reality that they wait around and then they live their life, and then they meet someone, or they project the normal thing onto me, which is actually kind of a compliment that they think I'm normal, which I'm not. I mean, whether it be a self-fulfilling prophecy that I thought I wasn't normal and became unnormal, or an aberration or whatever, that could be debated or argued. But the fact of the matter is that I haven't not had a normal life with regards to relationships. And at this point in my life, at the age I'm at, it's never going to be normal. It's always going to be an exception to a rule in some way. It's like, I got started pretty late, 24 years old. I've had huge gaps for various reasons. Not to mention that I used to be super obese. That was one of the problems. And and I'm very picky, and I have certain aesthetics that I go for or like. Wouldn't say I'm picky. I'm just somewhat selective. I don't just want to be with anybody that throws themselves at me. And I see people do that in the world, and I hate it. I hate when they do that. Or I think okay, well, this girl is with this guy, and I don't know what she sees in him, but is she just with him because he's a guy that liked her, or vice versa? Like, okay, so I overanalyze all this stuff because I'm a very analytical person, and I think, oh my God, they're settling for each other, and this is like, and part of this is a PUA brainwashing because this is like, you can't settle, man. HB10, all this bullshit. Like the pickup artist community, like, did kind of get in there and like influence me with that. But like, I see that happen though. I see it happen more oftentimes than not because I'm like, when people do that, it disgusts me because it's like, you're not doing this because you genuinely love or like this person. You're doing this, these situations, and there's a spectrum. That's the thing. There's a spectrum of behaviors and ideas within this realm that I'm talking about. But when people do this to an extreme extent, especially, I'm like, this is horrible. This is something I want to avoid. And that's something I've seen over and over again in the world. So I'm especially cautious of my own thing. So that creeps into relationships that I have. What happens is that I start questioning myself, like, oh, she didn't look as good to me that day. So am I becoming this type of person? So I overanalyze that and obsess. It's like OCD, which I think I also have. Not just a joke. Like, I have OCD. I just clean all the time. That's not OCD. I'm serious. Like, seriously, I actually do have. I hate how people like sort of trivialize mental illness by like using almost like a slang terminology for like, I have OCD because I like to clean my kitchen every day, every week. Fuck you. You don't have OCD just because you say you do. Fuck off, or whatever else they say. I forgot. Just these stupid things. But especially women say that. I'm sorry, it's terrible, sexist bullshit. But anyways, yeah, it's just stupid stuff like that pisses me off. So yeah, it's just like one of those things. So yeah, assertiveness, trying to go after what you want, not apologizing for what you want, as far as society might think it's wrong for me to approach women on the street or at a bar or whatever that I'm interested in talking to. Society may think that it's wrong for me to try to go after things, but it's just like, what else am I gonna fucking do, right? Just wait for a woman on OkCupid that has some interest of mine, but they don't even meet my criteria, like in other ways or whatever. Like, after years of emailing hundreds every month or whatever, like, I'm supposed to wait around for someone at work if we do go back to the office ever. I don't even know. Or if we what the fuck am I supposed to do? So people that question this shit, this is kind of a preemptive attack, as far as people go. This video, in some ways, it just pisses me off. I'm gonna do what I want. And my dream, honestly, I don't necessarily think I want to be a womanizer, but I definitely want at least that skill to pull, to pull when I need it, So that's how I see things. I have a lot of conflicts with the ethics of being a womanizer. I have a lot of inner conflicts that probably prevented me from going more that route in the past. But yeah, it's a struggle, and it has been a struggle. It'll continue to be, but that's fine. But I'm gonna take more action because it's gone to real shit lately. It's not been very good. Getting all worked up over a girl on Tinder in the 6 a.m. when you're fighting with her on the chat or whatever. It's pretty. That's how the mighty have fallen, even from 2019. But I'll have to try to switch everything around in my head and the attitudes and everything. That's about all.